Why, hello there. This is XP Walker from NPR Radio. Or just XP Walker from Las Vegas. Alright, so hey guys, it's been a little while since I made a video, and I've been deep in Conan Exiles. And as many of you know, I'm an author, an actual published author and everything. And I love writing stories, I love coming up with quest lines and stuff. And Pippi, one of the mods that we use on our server, turns out is really, really good for this. So I am actually going to show you guys how to create a very basic quest in Conan using the Pippi mod. You do not need to be a server admin to do this necessarily. If a lot of servers that have Pippi will also have vendors that will sell thespians. That's this little thing down here in the bottom right. Thespians are NPCs that you program to do different things, either sell things or talk with people or just stand there and look good. In this case, we've programmed this one to talk. Now, I've got a whole one already done here. This is Captain Alia. She's based on a character from one of my books. But okay, let's see. I'm not going to take that quest, but I will show you what her whole quest line looks like. It's quite extensive. And as you can see, it's a bit of a mess. Things are all over the place. She was one of the first quests I ever wrote, so it's kind of a disaster mess, but it works, and the quests work. And anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to create a quest from scratch in Age of Conan with the Pippi mod. This is a really fun feature that I've been spending almost all my time doing. As someone who loves to write, this is just something I really enjoy. It's right up my alley. Alright, so we've got now I'm going to skip the part where we put on the clothing for our thespians, or where we change their physical parameters, because this game is heavy on the nudity, and I don't want to get flagged on YouTube, so I'm just going to skip that part. There's other people's guides. Maybe I'll make one later, but for now I'm going to assume you know how to place a thespian. I can't even show you how, because they're butt naked when I try. So we're going to go to the crewman. If I go to talk to the crewman right now, nothing comes up. There's nothing here. I can just hit back and it closes. So I hold down E on her. Again, you need to make sure you own this thespian, otherwise you can't interact with them. I've named her crewman, which she's a crew woman, but I think crewman just means anyone who works on a ship, but that's okay. And what I would do is I would go down here and set her to dialogue thespian, because she's going to have dialogue with you. We're going to not disable the interaction GUI. I had it disabled earlier because she was just a NPC standing around. And we're going to apply that real quick. None of this other stuff matters at the moment. I've selected her animation to working, and you can hear the anvil sound. She's actually hitting wood, but there's only so much I can do with the existing stuff. Over here, she has no preset profession. You can give her a voice if you want out of the base voices, so that when I open up a dialogue with her, she should talk. Nope, she won't. Okay, that might be only if she's a salesperson. But generally, I don't give them voices unless they're selling something. You want head tracking turned on, because she'll look at your character when you walk around. And what we're going to spend most of our time in now is the Mushi editor. That's this guy right here. I'm going to click on that. And this is where we're going to create the entire quest. Now, I'm going to make it simple so that we can get through it quickly. The origin node is where everything begins. Everything you do has to trace back to this node. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the quest, but we're going to leave this area right here blank to connect everything up later. The first thing we want to do is a dialogue node. She needs to say something when the character opens up a conversation with her. So let's just have her say, I'm very busy. I'm busy, so please don't waste my time. Is there something you need? Okay. I think it's, I'm very busy, comma, but whatever. You know what? I'm not going to go grammar Nazi on my own writing. Give me a break, folks. Alright, so that's what her opening speech is. If I were to just connect these two, hit File, Save, and then open up a conversation with her, you don't have to hit Apply on that screen, by the way, then she would say, I'm very busy, so please don't waste my time. Is there something you need? But there's no options. I can't do anything. That's the end of all the interactions I have with her. So we've got to give her a full tree of things to do. So that's what she says. So now we have the opportunity to reply to her. I'm sorry, I just realized I'm opening up things without telling you what they are. So that was a dialogue node. Dialogue is when the NPC talks. Option is when we talk. So we're going to make a couple options by right-clicking and going to option node. And because I've now done this a few times and am thoroughly OCD, I separate everything by basically one unit, a couple pixels. And first option is going to be, actually, I was about to ask you the same thing. Is there something she needs? Oh, not question mark. And then the other option is, sorry to bother you. Goodbye. And that's the end of that. So I'll show you how to close this out. So when she talks to me, I'm going to have these two options. Now, obviously, if I'm saying sorry to bother you, that's pretty much the end of it all. So I can make an action node. An action node is basically she does something. Something happens when I click that button that it's attached to. So action node, I'm going to set it nice and close. And we're going to go from the output to the input, meaning after. So output means what happens after this happens. So the output of her dialogue node is now we are given the option to click on one of these things. After we click on option node, the output is something. Something has to happen after we click it. So what's going to happen is we can either choose close dialogue, which just closes the whole screen and you're done talking. Or if we want to be really creative and delete that, well, instead of deleting it, let's just click on the line between the two right here. Move this out of the way for now, and we'll make a dialogue node. She is going to say, what's she gonna say? Sorry to bother you, goodbye. We'll make her kind of rude. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again. And thing is, if I attach, now see I attached output to input, so now she says that after you say goodbye. If I attach a closed dialogue to that, it will immediately close after she says that. And unless you can read at 1,000,000 words a second, you're not going to be able to know what she said when it closes. So instead, we're going to put in what's called a wait node. Wait means it will just leave the window open for X amount of seconds. 500 milliseconds is half a second. See, it translates it right here for you. So we're going to press up, but we're going to hold down shift. And about 5 seconds is pretty solid. If you can't read that one sentence in 5 seconds, you're probably still in elementary school and you shouldn't be playing Conan. All right, so we're going to go from the output, see, here's my line, to the input. So now, after she talks, we wait 5 seconds, and after we wait 5 seconds, let's go one space over. I'm going to go output, close dialogue. So the whole interaction is, I'm very busy, don't waste my time, is there something you need? Sorry to bother you, goodbye. Don't let it happen again. Wait, close the dialogue. It's all done. Now, on the event 99% of the players actually want to interact with her and get a quest, we're going to have them say, actually, I was about to ask you the same thing. And she can, so we put in a dialogue note. She's going to say, very well. If your offer to help is genuine, I could use a few things to help fix up the ship. Just a typical fetch quest is what we're going for here. So, she's not going to say this unless we attach output to input, which we've now done. So, let's save it. We're going to test it out real quick. It's good to test your scripts as you, like every 5 or 6 nodes, just to be sure you didn't screw it up. Not saying that's what I do, but you should. Okay, so we know that if we say sorry to bother you, she's going to say don't let it happen again. It's going to linger here for 5 seconds, and there it goes. So instead, we're going to offer to help her. Actually, I was about to ask you the same thing. Very well. If your offer to help, see, there's a typo. I'll fix that. If your offer to help is genuine, I could use a few things to help fix up the ship. But nothing else is happening because that's all we've written so far. So I think you guys understand A leads to B leads to C and so on. So we're gonna go a little bit faster now and start to add in the whole quest. And we're gonna fix my typo, if your help to offer. All right, so she is now offering us a quest. Now, there's a few ways we can do this. We can just have her keep talking, or we can have another option node where you say something like, sure, what do you need? But in the interest of doing this quickly, we're just gonna have her put it all in this bit of dialogue right here. I need the following. Let's see, what would we need to fix up a ship? We would probably need wood, so let's go 1,000 wood. It's not that hard to gather on my server. If your server's set to default, 1,000 wood might take a little while for a newer player, so you just figure it out based on your server's settings, or if you're playing single player. So we'll say 1,000 wood, and just to be really fancy, we'll make a capital W. Let's say she doesn't need stone. This is a ship. She doesn't need water because... So I would say iron fittings, perhaps, to, oh no, you know what? Let's make it twine. She needs rope to fix the ship up. So let's make it 1,000 twine, which is also not that hard to gather because plant material is literally everywhere. So we'll go twine. And I think that's good. If it's a new player, they don't have a lot of encumbrance, so this will overweigh them if they go too far. Even 1,000 wood's probably too much for them to carry. Bring these to me. It will quicken my repairs. Now this is cheesy writing because I'm really rushing through it here. So quicken my repairs to the rigging and hull. Now, we have two options here. We could just say, okay, I'll go, but for whatever reason, if the player decides they just don't want to do this quest, we want to give them an option to back out. So we'll make two options. Gonna make them all nice and fancy and tucked in beautifully right here. Option one is I'll get started on that right away. Option two is that sounds too difficult. I think, let's just say, I'm going to have to decline. It's a very polite way of saying no thanks. Alright, so we want to make sure we connect these, output to input. Output to input, everything has to have a little orange line between them. Now, I stuff all of my stuff really close together. Now I do, now that I've done this a few times. By the way, we're going to break this connection, and I'll show you why in a moment. Oops, get in there. Don't be like that. There we go. So now she won't talk at all. Even if all this stuff is in here, we aren't connected to the origin, therefore she doesn't even engage you in conversation. But we'll come back to that. Alright, so first let's find out what happens if we say no. That sounds a little too difficult. I'm going to have to decline. And she'll say something snarky like, there's so few real workers left. I know. Actually, let's have her say something funnier like that. Let's have her say, you were exiled here for laziness, weren't you? And then another wait node, and then we're going to shut it down. So output to the input. We're going to make another wait node. Alternatively, if we want to use the same wait node and close for everything, we can make a bounce. In fact, I should probably just show you how to do that since bounce is part of what we're going to have to learn. So let's do this. We're going to move these things over here for now. Break the connection. So here's how bounce works. We're going to make two bounce nodes. What a bounce does is it goes from one bounce to another bounce, back and forth. So we want to make the first one a land, meaning this is where it ends up. So land ID is 12. I'll explain that in a moment. We're going to put that in place of this wait node down here. So we're going to connect the output to the input. So now when you say sorry to bother you, don't let it happen again, this bounce node happens. Nothing actually is going to happen if you go this route, left to right, because bounce nodes are just placeholders. They don't do anything as far as landing bounce nodes go. Now we're going to do a bounce node. This means from a bounce node, it will go to a landing node of the same ID. Right now, it's set to an ID 0, meaning it bounces to ID 0, but there isn't one, so it won't go anywhere. So we want to change this to 12. See 12 right here? So we want it to bounce from here and land on 12. Now, I'm going to go output to input. Now, instead of running, see there's no output on this? Instead of running an orange line down to here, it automatically will go whoop, and it will bounce down to here. And now we want to reattach our wait node and our action node. Put them nice and in there. Output to input, and this is already attached. So now, if you say, that sounds too difficult, I'm going to have to decline, she's going to say something snarky. It'll bounce you down here, which happens in a millisecond. It's immediate. And then there's that 5-second wait. Then the dialogue closes, unless you close it sooner. The alternative is, yes, I'll get started right away. That's where we are going to make the actual quest. So, we're going to make an action node. Right-click, action node. And give quest. She's going to give the player a quest. Now, a little hint when you're making quests. Again, we want to connect them, of course. When you're making a quest, you want to make the name very short because it has to fit in this little dialogue that pops up here on the right. It's not going to fit very much. So we're going to call it, we're just going to call it repairs. How about that? And we're going to click on notify player. That means the player gets a little pop-up up here that says you've started the quest repairs. And after repairs is given to them, there's nothing else for the player to do. So it needs to basically close down this dialogue. Now, if I just made an action node and hit close dialogue, then it will close the dialogue, but it happens so instantly they won't actually see the pop-up for this quest. So instead, here's our good old bounce node. We're going to hijack that bounce node and use it again. So I'm going to go from the output on the quest down to my bounce node. So the quest has been given to the player, and now they're taken whoop, down here. They wait 5 seconds, and the dialogue closes. Multiple things can connect to a bounce node. Doesn't matter how many things you connect, so long as you take the right path. Like, I don't want to connect the output to here. That won't make any sense, because she's just giving me a quest, and I told her sorry. That doesn't make any sense. So everything, this is why I go left to right usually when I make my quest lines, just to help me visibly know what is happening. Okay, so now we've gotten everything we need to receive the quest. And what Pippi does is it gives you a quest by that name. It's very important you get that name correctly each time, because if you misspell it anywhere, it'll break the whole script. Just like in any scripting, everything has to be absolutely right to the period, to the letter. Now, just so you know what this is days, hours, minutes, and seconds. If you give this a time, it means after that amount of time, the quest can be repeated, and the quest can also be closed. So if the quest isn't done within a day, it closes. If the quest is done but a day has passed, you can repeat it. So that's how you would do repeatable quests. We are going to not do that. We want this to be a one-time quest because she doesn't need an infinite amount of wood and twine. So I think we already hit save, but just in case I forgot, and close, and oops. There we go. Oh, right. We disconnected it, didn't we? She's not going to say anything. Okay. Well, that's okay, because we want to finish the quest anyway, so we're going to test it when it's all done. So let's assume that you've gotten the quest, you've gone out, and you've gathered your 100 wood and your 1,000 wood and 1,000 twine. We're going to make a new area for talking to her when you've done that. So let's say you've returned. Well, if you return, and this is connected to this, all that's going to happen is she's going to give you the quest all over again forever. You have to find a way to tell her what happens when the person is on the quest and is attempting to finish it. So the way we do that is we make what's called a condition mode. If you know any coding, it's sort of like an if argument, if. So new condition node says, has the player completed the quest? Now this is important. You have to do a completed quest before you do they have the quest? I ran into this mistake the other day and it took me a long time to figure it out. So have they completed the quest? What is the quest called? Repairs. Have they completed the quest? Repairs. We're going to put that here. And if they have not completed the request called repairs, I'm going to make another condition. Do they even have the quest in the first place? All right, so we're going to make some room here. So we're going to go, do they have the quest? Repairs. Now, if they don't have the quest, it means they've either never talked to this NPC or they just never got that far. So if that statement is false, I'm going to connect to the input here, and just so you can see it better, there it is. So if they've never received the quest in the first place, or they, if they don't have the quest and they've never completed it, means they've never gotten it. So because of this, we would want to connect to the beginning of the actual dialogue, because we're basically saying you've never done the quest, you've never gotten the quest, you're essentially starting from scratch. Now, if they, first we want to go back to the condition, and have they completed the quest? True. Let's say they've finished the quest, they've turned everything in, let's give her a dialogue node. So, say you've done your quest and you've come back at another time just to chat with her. She says, thank you for the materials. Let's just say thank you again, because she's going to thank you. Anyway, thank you again for the materials. I don't need anything else. And so, if you have completed the quest called repairs, this quest. Oh, you know what? Let's connect this real quick, because that's going to drive me to drink. I'm super OCD on it, sorry. Okay, so if you have completed the quest repairs, all she's going to do is tell you thanks again, go away, or something like that. So we go from true to the input. It's true that I've completed the request, therefore this is what she says. And I need to put something after it, otherwise it will just close the dialogue instantly. So we'll just put an option node where I say something like, hey, no problem. And then when I click that, it will close instantly. So we're going to go output to input. Hopefully that's the right distance. It really doesn't matter physically, the distance. This is just more me trying to make it all look fancy. And last but not least, after I tell her, yeah, no problem, I'm just going to close the dialogue using an action node. Close dialogue. Output to input. Soon as I click no problem, this is going to happen. It's just going to close the chat. Alright, that is done. Everything looks good there. Alright, so now that is in the event I've already done the quest. Now, we haven't though, so let's set that as well. So if I have completed the quest repairs, then all said and done, I just say goodbye. If I haven't completed the request for repairs, then it's going to check, do I even have the quest in the first place? So here's my false. I'm going to connect it over to the input. And it says, does XP have the quest repairs? If he doesn't, then he must have never received it. Therefore, here's all this dialogue that we just talked about. But if he does have the quest and he hasn't completed it, let's check to see if he's ready to. So this is where our good friend Mr. Bounce Node comes in. We're going to make another bounce node. And of course, you always want to make two. So one is the landing, and it gave it ID 19. Just set it over there for now. The other is the bounce. This means we're going away from here to whatever I tell you to go to, which in this case is 19. I'm just going to sneak that right in so it's all fancy. So if it's true that I have the quest, I'm going to bounce down to an entirely new place. We'll go way down here to make sure we're nice and far from the main dialogue. I wish you could rename nodes just to remind yourself what they do, but that's okay. Maybe the Pippi guys will add it later. Alright, so now we could start a whole new line. I'm going to rush through this as quick as I can because this movie's coming up on 30 minutes, and I know how annoying it is to watch a guide that takes forever. So, we've now returned with our stuff. So, she's going to say, again, output to input, gather the supplies I requested. And option number 1 would be no, we haven't. Option number 2, yes, we have, or the other way around. I believe whatever option you create first, whatever node you create first, is the one that will be on top when they're connected. I can't verify that, though. Alright, so we're going to put that up there. This one right here. Output to both. So we'll make... Sorry, my phone just went off. We'll make that... that's professional YouTubing right there, guys. Forgetting to mute your phone before you record a guide. Alright, now it's muted. Alright, so option number 1 would be yes. I have gathered all the supplies. Gathered all you asked for. I think that's so cheesy. I've gathered all supplies you asked me to. How about that? Whatever. Just forgive me here, guys. It's not high quality writing going on at the moment. Okay, or no. Sorry. And then she'll say something like, well then get back to it or something like that. Well then hurry up. Is there a comma after well then? I don't think most players are going to care about that much grammar, but just in case, we've connected them all. Well then hurry up! And then we're going to bounce her to the wait node again, so that it doesn't just up and close immediately. So we're going to make a bounce. Again, we don't have to make 2 in this instance because we're just bouncing straight to bounce node 12. Holy smokes, I forgot how fast that moves. We're just going to click 12, and then there's a 5-second wait and she closes the dialog. Now, if you do have the item, or you claim to, we have to start making conditions, because what if you tell her, I've got the item, but you don't? You're a liar, right? So we're going to make sure, condition node. So condition means if this player has, right? Or if this player, whatever, if. Just like we had up here. So if the player has item, we're going to search for the ID. She was looking for, what was it, wood and twine, I think. So we search for wood. Here it is. There's the picture, just in case you're unsure. Yep, that's definitely it. If the player has wood... Oh, actually, you know what? We're going to do this. Ah, shoot. Yeah, we've run out of room. Let's move this all down a bit. Sorry. Again, this isn't necessary. If you really don't care, you can just throw stuff all over the place and just connect it that way. But if you have a very intricate quest, it starts to become very confusing knowing where things are. So if I have that item, which is wood, 1,000 of it in my inventory, then she's going to do something. But let's say I don't. Let's say I lied to her. Then she's going to say... No, you didn't. Quit wasting my time. No, not time W. Okay. And then we're going to bounce again to the closing dialogue. So just to make this easier for you to see, there we go. She's also going to bounce you to 12, which will close the dialogue after 5 seconds. Now, if you do have it, then it's going to say, if the person has the wood, what else do we have to check for? Well, we have to check for twine, because maybe you have one, but you don't have the other. Condition. Has item. We're going to look up twine. There it is. The lookup is this little magnifying glass, if I didn't explain that. And she wanted 1,000 twine as well. So we're going to just put that up here for the purpose of it being out of the way. And if it's true that you have 1,000 wood, is it also true that you have twine? Ooh, in fact, you know what? We're going to, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, so just hold on. Do you have 1,000 twine? If you don't, she's going to say the same thing. She's going to say, no, you didn't gather that. Quit wasting my time. And the way that we're going to do that is, if it's false that you don't have enough wood, she's going to say it. Come here. If it's false that you didn't have enough twine, she's going to say it. They can both borrow the same dialogue. You don't have to make a new one and take up space. And then we'll move that bounce node over a bit. So there's two events in which she'll just shut you down. One is if you forgot one of these things. The other is if you just told her, no, I don't have the stuff. It'll bounce you over to here, which will then shut you down. Okay, so let's assume you have everything. You did your job correctly. She's going to say... now, you know what? She's not going to say anything yet. We're just going to finish the quest. So if it's true that you have wood, if it's true that you have twine, we are now going to start giving you rewards. So we're going to make an action node. True, connected to that. And that action node is going to be, we're going to give you an item. So she's going to reward you with, let's say, let's talk about some pirate clothes. That'd be kind of cool. Let's look up pirate, pirate banner. How about a banner? Yeah, why not? No, those are lame. Those are kind of lame. Wanted poster, pirate signs, shipwrecked pirates. Yeah, let's have her give you some pirate clothing. Or does Pirate Raider look cooler? No, Pirate Raider doesn't look like pirates at all. And then these epic ones, I don't know if they actually work, so I'll skip those. Alright, so we're going to have her give you a scroll for pirate banners and pirate cuisine. How about that? That's cool, because then you can make your own stuff. Pirate banners, we're going to make another action node. Have her give you pirate cuisine scroll. Okay, those are the two items she's going to give you. And again, everything connects to the next thing, so don't leave anything without connections like I did a second ago. And you're going to make sure you choose the amount. You're going to want one scroll for each, because one scroll is all it takes to learn something. You're going to have her give you some XP. So a new action node. Give XP, give experience, wherever that is. Give EXP. I'll have her give you 2 million experience, which at lower levels is a ton, but once you're over 100, it's not that much. It's like one level if you're lucky. Okay, so she's given you 2 scrolls, experience, and we'll have her give you a little bit of server currency. New action node. Give currency, or give money, I think it is. Give funds. There it is. Now this is Pippi gold. This is not like the gold items you would pick up. So we're going to have her give you 5 gold, which is, depends on the server you're on. Some servers, they're very liberal with the amount of money they give. In my case, 5 gold is pretty good. That'll get you quite a few drinks at the bar, back at the bazaar. Okay, so there's all those things. We're done. She's given you all the rewards that she's meant to give you. However, the quest has not closed. So we need to close the quest, otherwise a player can exploit this and just get the reward 1,000,000 times, which would be great. You get to level 300 in no time. So we're going to go new action, complete quest, set it up nice and cozy next to its friends, connect them. Make sure you use the exact quest name, otherwise it won't know to close it. So what was the quest name again? It's called Repairs. Just to verify, it is definitely called Repairs, because this is the give quest. Repairs. Notify the player means it pops up here and notifies them quest completed. Now, a couple things I want to add, because I do this on my server for all my quests, is notifying the server and the player. So I'll show you why we do that. So we're going to make a new action, chat message, another action, chat message. And then once it's done chatting with the player, it's going to close using that whole... Oh, no, actually, we're going to make a dialogue for saying thanks. Okay, so first thing is we want to chat privately to the player and tell her, we can name it Reward. And it'll say, you have received 2 million XP, 5 Pippi gold, scroll of pirate cuisine, and what was the other? Scroll of something. Scroll of pirate banners. Because it won't tell them this in their chat. You have to manually type it. Scroll of pirate banners. Sweet! Alright, there we go. So now they can make all that themselves. And then it's also going to tell the server, so global chat, it's going to say quest complete, player name, which you put inside of those greater than, less than brackets, what we'll do is it will put that player's name in the chat. So it'll go, XP Walker has gathered repairs for the crew of Liberator. That's the name of the pirate ship. It's based on a airship in my book, which you all are welcome to check out. I'll try to put a link in the description. Okay, shameless plug. All right, so now it's all done. Quest is complete. We've informed the player. We've informed the server. We're nearly done now. All that's left to do is for the NPC to say, thank you. I'll put these to good use immediately. Here are some things. Here are some things I've been holding on to. I hope this is compensation enough. Alright, so she has talked. The player doesn't really need to say anything back to her. There's nothing left to do, except if she says this, it will just close immediately and the player won't be able to actually read the conversation. So, again, here's our good friend bounce node 12, which connects to the wait node, which closes the dialogue after 5 seconds. So, we're going to bounce it back to 12. Bounce node 12 is a popular guide today. What are we at? Oh, we're over 30 minutes. Jeez, I'm sorry, guys, but I hope this helps you at least. All right, so that is all that should be all set. So just a quick review before we end it. Origin node connected to condition nodes, but you'll put those conditions in later because first you have to create the quest so you know what the conditions are. Does the player has the player completed this quest in the first place? No, they haven't. Well, then do they have it? They don't? Well, here we go. Hello, how's it going? Yep, you can help me out. Here's your quest repairs. Player comes back later. Do they have the completed quest? No, they're still doing it. Do they have the quest? Why, yes, they do. Well, then bounce them down here. Did you gather the supplies? Yes, I did. Do you have the items? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, then, yes, you did complete the quest. Here is all of your stuff. Here's the completed quest. Here's the private messages to let you know that this is what you're getting. Here's her saying thank you. And last but not least, she's going to bounce back to a 5-second wait, which should be long enough for you to read her dialogue, and then it closes it out. If you return after you've completed the quest, have you completed the quest? Why, yes, you have. Well, then she's just going to say thanks again for the help. I don't need anything else. Yep, no problem. Bye. All right, so now we have to put this into test. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a chat with the crewman. Sorry to bother you, closes it. We know that. Instead, we're going to go, actually, I was about to ask you the same thing. I'll get started on that right away, because she's going to ask for 1,000 wood, 1,000 twine. Started, repairs quest, and it will close after 5 seconds if our bounce node worked. Yes, there we go. So instead of gathering the stuff, in the interest of saving time, I am just going to up and create the stuff. So we're going to go twine. There's 10,000 twine, that should be enough. And then we'll go wood. 10,000 wood. That's the cheat menu if you need to spawn stuff as an admin. Obviously, if you're a player, you're going to go and gather these things. I would have too, but we're just doing this in the interest of saving time. All right, crewman, let's have a chat with her. She's going to say, did you gather the supplies I requested? Why, yes, I have gathered the supplies. Thank you. I'll put these to good use. Completed the request. And, oh, that was barely enough time to read her things within 5 seconds. So, in this case, either you can make the wait longer or you can make the chat move faster. So we're just going to make it move faster. Going to have her move at 100% speed. I can't show you that in action because I've already completed the quest, but I did receive all the items I need. And if I look in chat, reward, you've received 2 million XP, 5 Pippi gold, scroll of pirate cuisine, and scroll of pirate banners. And then this is a public one. It says XB Walker has gathered repairs for the crew of the Liberator. Let me just ask. Just checking. Did y'all see that? I'm pretty sure they did. Yep, they saw it. Thanks. Okay, so that quest is complete. If we check our inventory, where's my Pippi gold? I have 102 because I've done a bunch of other quests that I created just to test them. But if I look through my list of items that I have here, down at the bottom, scrolls are very light, so they'll be near the bottom usually. Here's some Defire weapons from another quest I did. There it is, Pirate Banners, a note scrawled on flimsy paper. So we're going to hit use. Pirate Cuisine. And we've now learned all those cool things. So that's it, guys. That's how you create a very basic quest. You can make some really cool quests that one ties to another, and you can reference quests on one NPC from another NPC. There's no limit to that. I haven't tested to make sure that, quests aren't repeatable, but they shouldn't be if you don't put a time limit on them. Alright, guys, that is it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. And, yeah, I'll see you guys later.